Ladies and gentlemen, with that address, we move on to the address by His Lordship, the Chief Justice of Sri Lanka, and it is our privilege to invite His Lordship K. Sripavan.
Your Excellency, the President, Honorable Maithripala Sirisena, Honorable Prime Minister has just left, I think. Their Lordships and Ladyships of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, Honorable Attorney General, Honorable Minister of Justice, Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Mr. Jeffrey Alagaratnam, President's Council, President Lawasia, Mr. Prasanth Kumar, Co-Chairman of the 29th Lawasia Conference, Mr. Pul Jayasuriya, past presidents of the Lawasia, esteemed and honorable judges, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. As the chief guest of the host nation for the 29th Lawasia Conference, it is a great honor and a pleasure for me to inaugurate the Golden Jubilee celebration of Lawasia Conference of 2016. I extend a very warm welcome to our distinguished participants from the Asia, the Pacific, and beyond. I wish in particular to extend a warm welcome and a hand of friendship to my counterparts, the Chief Justices and senior members of the judiciaries from over 15 jurisdictions. I also welcome close to 550 delegates from more than 29 countries who have come to our beautiful nation for the Lawasia Conference. I personally consider this a unique occasion for two reasons. Firstly, we are assembled here today to witness the opening of the Golden Jubilee ceremony of Lawasia, the premier international legal conference embracing the whole of Asia, the Pacific and beyond. Secondly, this is the third time the Lawasia Conference is being hosted in Colombo. As you are aware, the conference in 1979 and 1993 were two held in Sri Lanka. So naturally, we Sri Lankans are justly proud of the fact that the foremost law conference in the Asia and the Pacific region is being held in Sri Lanka once again in its Golden Jubilee year. The celebration of Golden Jubilee of any institution is a great event in the history of that institution, and therefore it calls for introspection. Occasions such as this give us an opportunity to reflect as to whether the Lawasia as a professional body has been successful in achieving its objective of promoting administration of justice, protecting human rights, and maintaining the rule of law. It also gives us an opportunity to ask for ourselves the question whether Lawasia as an association has been enhancing its image further over the last 5 decades, or whether there has been some dent in it. Having studied the progress of this association since its foundation, I am happy to note that Lawasia has grown and established itself as an association of high distinction and great influence, and has also steadfastly promoted the principles that are fundamental to the administration of justice, and in particular, the rule of law and the importance of a strong and independent judiciary in the Asia and the Pacific region. I would like to congratulate the organizing committee for this 29th conference for putting together a varied and stimulating program. As you know, the law is one of the finest achievements of human civilization. It has brought about order from the welter of conflicting aspirations of the multitude. Without the law, society is bound to be in disarray, and that would inevitably lead to chaos. It has provided a rational framework within which human affairs can be conducted for the greatest good of the greatest number. But today, all over the world, and particularly in the Asia-Pacific region, mankind has entered the age of rapid social and economic change. The basic postulates of the social and political order are increasingly being challenged. Law has withstood the change of centuries, of course, and can undoubtedly meet the test of our time, our own time. But the law must grow in both flexibility and wisdom. It is said that government without justice is tyranny, and we know that society without justice is anathema to its citizens. Civic well-being is unattainable without justice. Justice is nonetheless routinely subverted in many of our countries, and its citizens, usually the powerless poor, are denied justice through the abuse of power, impunity, corruption, and inefficiency. These are the usual challenges for reforming justice across the globe. It is also said that the judiciary is the weakest of the three organs of the state, since it has neither the powers of the purse nor the powers of the sword, neither the money nor the patronage. However, on the other hand, it is also felt that an independent and effective judicial system is the hallmark of democratic polity. Law is an instrument of society which has its own objective, that is the dispensation of justice. Law is not an abstract, but its nature and shades is largely defined according to its purpose, practice, and functions. It can never be doubted that law requires constant review, revision, and examination for improving and reforming the judicial system as a whole. Therefore, the legal community has a primary duty to make the law and the legal system relevant to the vast majority of the people. It would not suffice to maintain a system which is impressive in its intentions, but which fails to be meaningful to those to whom it applies. If the legal system fails to command the confidence of the people, if it is unable to respond effectively to uphold the fundamental values, and if it fails to have any meaning to them, then we face the reality that it will be rejected in essence and in spirit. It is also to be remembered that it is not sufficient that justice is not only being done, but it must appear that justice is being done. Judges cannot succeed in achieving proper results without the happy cooperation from the members of the bar. The bar and the judiciary are but two wings of the same body, and if one goes bad, the other is bound to suffer. Whatever lawyers may achieve in other fields, it is their duty and their obligation to ensure that the administration of justice filters down to the needy in its most competent form, so that no man shall be deprived of his rights due to the defects of the system or the lack of skilled defender. The dramatic rise in caseloads in all our countries and the inordinate delay in settling disputes via the traditional systems calls for an urgent reevaluation of our methods. There's a challenge to improve the judicial system and to ensure that access to courts and recourse to justice is not merely a doubtful luxury to be enjoyed by the rich only. We must ensure that the poor who need it as much can also have it, and that the door to the courtroom need not be opened only by a golden key. The ever-increasing criticism of the justice delivery system demands for having introspection in examining the problems faced by judicial system and recommending solutions for them so that justice may become simple, speedy, less costly, effective, and substantive. Respect for the rule of law at all levels of society, as we know, underpins social stability and progress, the development and growth of a country's domestic economy, and the confidence with which foreign investors can commit their own capital to projects can contribute to national development. The rule of law and the courts which support it are an indispensable part of social and economic infrastructure. Their development is a part of nation building. As you know, trust in the judiciary by society is of paramount importance for the establishment of the rule of law. Therefore, a united approach in this regard may be a productive effort. Yours is an organization which incorporates membership of judges, lawyers, and academics alike. The input of all these disciplines in adopting a common approach, I believe, would be extremely valuable. I am glad to note that one of the items in the agenda to be discussed is judicial governance. Over the last 3 decades or so, Sri Lanka as a country had passed through times of trials and tribulations, during which time our judiciary strived hard to dispense justice under tremendously trying circumstances. However, I am happy to state that over the last year, our country has bounced back and has embarked upon a new journey of good governance, which promotes a culture of transparency and justification. We have come to realize that the way forward for our country at this crucial junction is to create a society where there is social and economic justice. When we talk about social justice, we mean that every human individual, man or woman, of whatever religious persuasion is treated before the law as equals, with the same political rights, with liberty to rise to the highest offices open to any individual in his or her life. This social equality is the primary basis of national cohesion. As you all may agree, it has now become necessary for us to reevaluate the functioning of the judiciary and to bring about a qualitative change in the justice delivery system so as to bring it in tune with the hopes and aspirations of the people. The judiciary has to devise new methods, forge new tools, and innovate new strategies for the purpose of reaching social justice to common man. We must remember that in the final analysis, the strength and failure of our judicial system, its utility and credibility as the necessary organ of the state in a civilized society, the respect it would evoke and the confidence it would inspire would depend upon the way it satisfies the hopes and aspirations of the people of the common man in the quest for justice, in keeping the scales even in any legal combat between the rich and the poor, between the mighty and the weak, between the state and the citizen, without fear or favor. Finally, let me close by again commending all of you in attendance for your participation. Together, we can give of that we have been given: our talents, our resources, our hands, and our hearts, in order to make our corner of the world a better place for everyone. I wish you every success in your deliberations and a very pleasant stay in Sri Lanka. Thank you very much.
Your Lordship, we might call you back up here. We have a token of appreciation for your presence here and sharing the evening with us. Maybe call on Mr. Upul Jayasuriya, please, to make the presentation.
And also to join him, the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Mr. Jeffrey Alagaratnam. It is with great privilege that we recognize His Lordship, the Chief Justice, Honorable K. Sripavan, President's Counsel, on this momentous occasion of the 29th Conference of Lawasia.
Warm thank you to the Chief Justice and all our dignitaries who've taken the trouble to be here with us and speak at this conference. And while thanking the presenting party and His Lordship, may I invite Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya, the convener of Lawasia Sri Lanka 2016 Golden Jubilee Conference, to share with us his closing remarks.
Your Excellency, the President, Your Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, Your Lordships, the Chief Justices and representative senior judges participating in the Chief Justices Roundtable meeting, Your Lordships and Ladyships, the Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka and the Court of Appeal of Sri Lanka, the Honorable Attorney General, the Honorable Solicitor General, distinguished judges, Mr. Prashant Kumar, President of Lawasia, and the office bearers of Lawasia, Mr. Upul Jayasuriya, Chairman of the Lawasia Sri Lanka 2016 Organizing Committee, and the members of the Organizing Committee, Mr. Jeffrey Alagaratnam, President's Counsel, President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, and the Executive Committee, and the office bearers and members of the Bar Association, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Lawasia represents the legal fraternity of nearly 60% of the global population living in the Asia-Pacific region, which includes 7 of the world's 10 most populous nations. Therefore, as we chart a course to this century of Asia, The deliberations taking place in the next 3 days will be of vital importance. While our sessions address a wide array of subjects which are of direct relevance to the day-to-day practice of the legal profession, we will also be focusing on the rule of law, the independence of the judiciary, which must be the cornerstones in our fight for justice in a world marred by inequality. We hope to examine the many aspects and the requirements of the rule of law and the independence of the judiciary, and we look forward to illuminating deliberations on how the strengthening of these cherished principles can lead to inclusive economic growth and social justice. In selecting Sri Lanka for its Golden Jubilee celebrations, Lawasia reflects the confidence that the international community now reposes in Sri Lanka as a state in which the principles of democracy, rule of law, and the independence of the judiciary are held in esteem and are practiced. While this is something we as Sri Lankans must indeed be proud of, we must be especially thankful to His Excellency the President and the Honorable Prime Minister in attendance for having provided the leadership towards achieving this end. We are very grateful to His Excellency the President of Sri Lanka for being present here today, for declaring open this conference, and for the inspirational address he delivered a short while ago. We are indeed thankful to Your Excellency for accepting our invitation and for the continued support and guidance you have provided. We are also extremely thankful to our Honorable Prime Minister for attending this inauguration and for delivering a very thought-provoking keynote address. The Honorable Prime Minister also attended the 1993 Colombo Conference as our Prime Minister, and I'm sure he will go down in the history of Lawasia as being the only Prime Minister of a host country who, as the convener of this conference, there are many people and many institutions I wish to thank. While time does not permit me to thank them individually, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to them on behalf of the organizing committee. On a personal note, I have been privileged to have had this opportunity to work closely with this galaxy of lawyers, ranging from very eminent and senior practitioners of the law to more junior members of the bar who are making their way in the profession. The abilities, varied talents, dedication and enthusiasm of my colleagues have been most impressive, and I have learned much during our joint efforts to make this Lawasia Sri Lanka 2016 Golden Jubilee Conference the success I'm sure it will be. So on a personal note, thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoy your stay in Sri Lanka and have a wonderful commemoration of the Golden Jubilee of Lawasia 2016. On behalf of all Sri Lankans, it's Stuti, Vanakkam, thank you and good night.